Hey kids, it's your host, playing Jimi Photon with yet another episode of Stupid Metal Tricks. Today's attractive little device. Um, Let me ask you a question. What do you get when you cross a big muff pie ram's head circuit? Well, modified a little bit because I use particular transistors and values myself for my own personal ear to make it sound as much like my original big muff that I had way back when I was a little kid. But anyways, what do you get when you cross a big muff with an active 3-band EQ? Well, obviously, you get the world's biggest muff pie. What do you call it? Well, ever see that movie American Pie? I chose to call it Stifler's Mom. This is what you get. Too lazy to open it up to show you, even though I could get away with. No, actually, I have 4 screws in this. That never happens. Usually, I just do 2 in each corner because I'm like too lazy to be bothered. Anyways, this was built using circuit boards from my friend Barry at guitarpcb.com. I like to use his boards for different projects. I find them to be really well made, and the price is right. The personal service and attention to detail at Guitar PCB is second to none. So a huge shout out to my 7 of 9 and Barry Steindel, who is, in addition to being like a hell of a good proprietor, he's a freaking blazing guitar player. Check out his videos on YouTube, guitarpcb.com. He has a lot of great circuits. This isn't one of them. This is actually 2 of them. This is a combination of a big muff pie. He has a project called the Muffin. And he gives you all the information you need to build yourself any freaking variation, basically, of the big muff pie that has ever existed. Of course, you can do like I do and just kind of take this and take that from different kinds of models to go after different sounds and things. But it's a really good project. I highly recommend it if you're too lazy like I am anymore to go and do like Vero boards and crap like that sometimes. I mean, I prefer PCB. It's just cleaner. They tend to sound better. Vero is awesome, and I've built a lot of crazy things on Vero. I mean, crazy things on Vero. Ludwig Phase 2, remember that one? Well, actually, I didn't build that on Vero. I'm brain dead. I'm saying Ludwig Phase 2, and I'm thinking of Electroharmonics Clone Theory. Either way, it was an epic build. The only person I'm aware of, I think, that ever tried anything on Vero with Ludwig was Dino. I don't know if he ever finished it, but boy, I'll tell you, that's an epic task. And I'm pretty sure I remember seeing something somewhere. But anyways, this has a big muff pie circuit in here. And there's a clipper switch, so you can switch between different clippers. In my case, I like germanium. I also like germanium and LEDs. I find that the combination of germanium and LED gives for a very nice flavor, particularly if it's asymmetrical, because the germanium will start passing a lot faster than the LED does, and it will color the sound in a pleasantly fuzzy kind of way. And we're all about the fuzzy goodness. That's my hashtag. Hashtag fuzzy goodness, you know? Wow. But anyways, so you got that circuit there, and then what I did was I took the tone stack out because I grafted in what Barry calls a tone tweak or tone tweak hue. I'm not sure how they pronounce it. It could be either way. TWEQ. Take your choice, man. It's a free country, right? Or at least it used to be. Um, Anyways, and what that is I think Barry advertises as an active cut or boost 15 dB or something like that at pre-selected ranges for treble, bass, and mid-range. They're very, very useful for guitars and basses and things. I actually use one last in line on top of my stage amp so that I can go and do quick tweaks of anything I need to, like if I change guitars or if like sometimes it's inconvenient to like try and bend down to like see the knobs on the combo I play. So I use a Silken Super 50 Live most of the time. And for me to try and see what any of the knobs say, forget it, you know. Dim stage, I'm freaking half blind. Um, I can't tell you what the hell the knobs are. I have to either memorize them, which doesn't usually work, or have some kind of really bright light to see what the hell I'm doing. So that makes my life a little easier because I've got treble bass volume, treble mid range bass volume, and usually all I do is everything's flat at about 1 o'clock, and generally I keep everything about 1 o'clock, but I cut the bass back to about 10 o'clock. I'm not a huge fan of bass because I think it creates too much intermodulation distortion with the guitar, and it makes it too percussive and too muddy, and it gets in the way of the bass player. It makes it so you can't differentiate between different guitars and things, and to me it just, I know that's sacrilege. There's places where a lot of bass can sound great, because bass will increase your saturation immensely, but too much bass just makes everything kind of muddy and woofy and sound like shit a lot of times, like in a live situation has been my experience. So I tend to cut it a little bit. But anyways, Barry had recommended taking the input to the tone stack and then using the Tonestweak board as the completion of the circuit and just leaving everything out after the tone stack. Well, I had a little differing opinion on that, and I was like, I like things loud. Have I mentioned that? And quiet, you'll get your turn in a minute. And so what I did was I just wired it in place of the fucking tone stack. So this is a big muff with plus or minus 15 dB 3-band EQ instead of the big muff tone control. So you can have mid-range boosted, you can have mid-range cut, you can dial in how much treble or bass you want with it. And of course, then you got the diode switch thing up here, which changes the tonal character sound, and the volume. This thing can get insanely freaking loud. Big muffs tend to sometimes get buried in a dense mix. Not this one. This one, will cut through just about anything. It has enough mid-range where it can make it sound like total shit. It has enough bass. We're the same, could use a little hair more treble, but that's probably because of the size of the caps that I chose. I also tend to use low gain silicon in big muffs. I think it sounds a lot better if you're going for it. Most people try and put in the biggest gain that they can find for their transistors. A lot of times you'll see 508.8s or 9s or whatever, and people are 5-600 for an HFE. I don't think so. I think they sound better right around 200. Next time you got one on a breadboard, plug in some lower gain, or or even germanium if you got them. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Plug in some lower gain transistors and see if you notice a difference in the sound. There's definite sweet spots. Right around 200 to 230 or so, to me, sounds the best out of all of them. Very liquid. You get the actual violin-like sustain that Mike Matthews used to advertise in the real early big muff literature. Doesn't have as much noise. Also, I do a noise reduction mod. What would be marked D4 on a Electro-Harmonix big muff board. I discovered a few years back and put it on the internet, and I guess other people are doing it now too. If you parallel that diode with a germanium diode in the same spot with the same orientation, it works as a noise reduction where it takes out you lose a little bit of the mud, but it takes out about 60% of the noise that's in the big muff signal, and it makes it much more supple. Anyways, I'm sitting here babbling, staring at you. You don't want to hear me talk. You're like, Photon, what the fuck, asshole? I've been sitting here for 9 minutes and 38 seconds listening to you babble. If you have any brains, hopefully all you guys out there have learned to skip past all this bullshit and go right to the moneymaker. So let's get it on here, all right? Anyways, this is Stiffler'S Mom. The biggest muff on the planet. Maybe. Let's see what it sounds like. Les Paul on. I've got the gain. I'm going to put the the tone shit all halfway up, the volume barely on, and the gain actually off. Oops. Okay. Let's give it some volume. That's with the gain off, with a very low gain transistor. It's 200. Let's give it a little gain. That would be the sustain knob, actually. Let's turn it halfway up. The blooms. At a certain point, it'll become unusable when you're not playing. While you're playing, you can turn it all the way up, but if you stop, you'll hear noise like that. And it may make your guitar oscillate. But who cares? That's with the sustain pegs. So if you take low gain transistors, can't give you enough fuzz in a big muff. If that ain't fuzzy enough for you, let's cut it back a little. Oh, hang on. As I said, there's volume. Too much volume. It's excellent. Let's mess with the EQ a little. I'm going to cut the bass. Sustain's nice. Cut the mids. Boost the treble. Let's give it some bass. Let's flick the switch. That's the LED in germanium. Let's cut everything. I mean, this is like conversation volume. Flick the switch. Sustain's great. Very sing. It's got that violin sound that the original muffs had. Because it's got the low gain transistors. Makes it bloom. It's great for this one-handed playing stuff. You can turn the guitar down a bit. Only gets so clean. It just wants to scream. Let's crank everything. It sustains really good. Almost as good as a sustainer. And it blooms. But it will oscillate as the note decays. But you got a pretty good amount of time before the note starts to really fade. And of course, cutting the gain a little bit, just juicing a little more volume. Anyways, enough of that shit. I've done like 3 or 4 of these things in a row at this point. I'm starting to get real sick of listening to myself talk. So, anyways, that's Stiffler'S Mom. Cool little pedal, huh? If you want one, you build one. It's just, like I said, just grafted in place of the tone stack of a big buff pie. You can get all the parts you need at guitarpcb.com. This is an unendorsed, well, an unpaid endorsement. Whatever, I can't talk. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But anyways, it's a cool little pedal. Sustains great. I would recommend using low gain silicon. They're harder to find in NPN than they are in PNP. I'll tell you that much. But if you're creative and look around, you can find yourself some great deals. I just picked up a whole bag of 25 low gain, like perfect for fuzz face range, PNP silicons the other day for like, I don't know, I think $0.25 a piece or some shit. It was less than $20 shipped for 25 of them. I mean, it was like cheap. They're out there. You can do a lot with them. But anyways, with this, I would shoot for around 200 to no higher than 250 for an HFE to really get that kind of singy sustained sound. Because it's like, this doesn't sound like a normal off the shelf muff to me. But anyways, if you dig it, build yourself one. If you dig it and you want one and you don't build yourself one and you need one, talk to your pedal building geek friend, because everybody's got one. There's a pedal builder on every goddamn corner now. I mean, there's almost more pedal builders in America now than there is guns for free. Hey, it's crazy. It's a good thing, because people are actually doing stuff and building stuff and making it by hand instead of sitting around staring at their freaking phones, watching Facebook or whatever. Although I must admit I waste too much time on there myself, much to the chagrin of all kinds of people, I'm sure. But anyways, this is Jimi Photon signing off. Stupid pedal trick. Stupid pedal, Stiffler'S Mom. Live long and prosper. Peace.